that fucking hurt. All of us have had books that have been on our TBR for fucking years. So, let's go through 10 of mine. Hey guys, it's Abby from Abby of Pellinor, and today I'm looking at 10 of my TBR Veterans. I'm going to be telling you why I got them and why I haven't yet read them, and hopefully this will guilt me into actually picking 9 out of them actually up and reading them. You'll see why in a bit. First of all, we're going to start with The Witchfinders Sister by Beth Underdown. I was gifted this by one of my amazing real life friends, Nicola, years ago. Like, I went to school with Nicola. So she gifted me this like end of 6th form, beginning of 1st year of uni, like 5 years ago, and I've still not read it, and I don't know why. This whispers a spreading of witchcraft and the terrible fate awaiting the woman accused, and it's basically this man who's obsessed with killing who he believes are witches, and his sister who is trying to stop him because he's murdering women. It sounds really good, and I don't know why I have no clue why I haven't picked it up. I mean, the cover, whilst pretty, the synopsis, the blurbs by authors, not great, and it's got like a real, I don't know, I'm trying to find I don't know why I've not picked it up, okay? I don't know. Then we have Red Queen by Christina Henry. This is the second book in the Alice series. So I read Alice, it's up there, it's the one with the red tabs, there. I read Alice a little while ago. I read it for the, I read it for the 2018 booktubeathon. This was gifted to me by one of my best friends in real life, Georgia. She gifted me the duology. Christina Henry's has since come out with one extra book in the series, I do believe, which I don't own yet. This one and the other one are actually signed. I really liked Alice. This is just one of those ones where, like, I know that the reason I haven't picked this up is that it just hasn't called to me. It's one of the ones that I want to, like, be stood there and be like, oi, pick me up. Next up is The Muse by Jessie Burton. This was gifted to me by Kane, so he is basically mine and George's little brother, just not actually by blood. He gifted me this because I had recently read another book by Jessie Burton. I read The Miniaturist, I enjoyed The Miniaturist, and I saw this in Sainsbury's. We were in Sainsbury's, and so he said he'd pick me up. Same as the next book. That's also from Kane, from Sainsbury's, from the same trip. I'm so sorry, mate, thank you. This is a historical fiction, and that's why I've been delaying it. It sounds really good. It's not too historical, it's a combination of the 60s and the 30s, 1900s, and it's like 400 pages. And I enjoyed The Miniaturist, so it should be fine, but I've just really not been reading historical fictions lately. And linked in with that is Three Sisters, Three Queens, Phillipa Greggory. This is another historical fiction, but also I've heard that Phillipa Greggory has a lot of romance in her books, and... Hello? Also, why are you home? He's finally gone. Finally. It's been like half an hour. Where was I? So we just talked about The Muse by Jessie Burton, so now we're looking at Three Sisters, Three Queens by Phillipa Greggory. I think I was talking... Genuinely, it's been like half an hour. I think I was talking about how, one, I haven't been reading a lot of historical fiction lately. I was really into it a couple of years ago, less so at the moment. So that's one of the reasons. And then also I've heard that Phillipa Greggory has a lot of romance in her books, and... So... I've been considering reading some romance, specifically Alyssa Cole's like Princess in Theory? The Royalty series by Alyssa Cole. I've been tempted to read that. I've never read a romance in my life, but I'm tempted. So then, considering the fact that I'm tempted, surely if I'm then in the mood for historical fiction I should pick this up, if there's like romancy things in it. I don't know. Which is it even? Catherine of Aragon, Margaret and Mary, the Queens of England, Scotland and France. So yeah, Tudor time, Queens. If you couldn't tell, that's a well-known portrait of King Henry the 8th. Is it 8th? Or is it 6th? No, 6th is... no. King Henry the 8th. Fucking hell. Basically, it's big, it's historical, and it's got love in it, so I'll put it off. Next book. Speaking of big and historical. Labyrinth by Kate Mosse. I actually have this entire trilogy. There's Labyrinth, Sepulcher and Citadel. This is a historical fiction, but it's combined with fantasy. So literally the only reason I've been putting this one off, and ergo the other 2 books in the series, is because it's fucking big. This is somewhere around 700 pages. However, don't know if you can see here, but this is what looks like hieroglyphs down the side. I adore ancient Egypt. That was my thing. Ancient Rome and ancient Egypt when I was younger were like the ones that... Ancient Egypt? Ancient Rome. Why does my brain think I said Greece? I didn't. I know nothing about ancient Greece. fuck is wrong with me? So, Ancient Egypt and Ancient Rome were my thing as a kid, so ergo Ancient Egypt. All 3 books in the series seem to do the same thing from what I've read in the synopsis. This one is combined between 1209 and 2005. So it's like time hopping, which is where the fantasy element comes in, between the 2 periods of time. In the 1209, a 17-year-old girl is given a mysterious book by her father, which she claims contains the secret of the True Grail. Although Elise cannot understand the strange words and symbols hidden within, she knows that her destiny lies in keeping the secret of the labyrinth safe. So I'm assuming the strange words and symbols, maybe hieroglyphs. It sounds really interesting. It sounds right up my alley, a mixture of the historical and the magical. It's just big. And considering I said where the rest of them came from, this one was just in a charity shop in Preston. Another one in a charity shop in Preston is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. This follows a French girl in World War II who is blind. And this is another one that I put off because it is only, quotation marks, only over 500 pages. However, the writing is fucking minuscule. So it's going to take a lot, but it is deliciously fluffy. Like, oh. So it's going to take me a while to get through. And that's why I've left it. Also, because of my, like, departure from historical fiction, I haven't read anything World War II based in quite a while, actually. I used to read a lot of it all the time. It's been a little bit of a while, so I need to get back into that. This is one that I think will be really good, but most likely also be heartbreaking. So the combination of the fact that it's going to be long and heavy to read is why this one has been delayed. And then now we are on to the ones from my childhood. So, Wormwood by G.P. Taylor. I know nothing about this. It's a fantasy set in the mid-1700s. In London? I don't know. I keep seeing other books by the same author with similar covers and similar titles, and I'm like, is this a series? Is it just like standalones and he has like a theme that he writes in and all the covers match? I don't know. I don't know why I didn't read this at the time. I think it's just one of those ones where you know that you just don't reach for it. So I'm gonna try. This may end up being unhauled, this one, because I don't know why I haven't reached for it. But it is just over 300 pages. The writing is a little bit small, but nothing too bad. I mean, part of me always was like, oh no, I've read that, I just can't remember it, but like, it doesn't want to open further than that. I've definitely not read it. So yeah, this one might end up being unhauled, but I'd like to give it a shot, because I know nothing about it. In his Bloomsbury attic sits Dr. Sabian Blake, an astronomer, scientist and master of the Kabbalah. Dr. Blake is in possession of the Nemerensis, an ancient leather-bound book that holds the secrets of the universe. Scribbled into one of its margins is a mysterious prophecy, and deciphering it could prove the key to saving London from a catastrophic fate, but there are others interested in the book too, for more sinister reasons. It sounds okay. I didn't buy this, it was a gift from my mother when I was younger. She knew that I would read fantasy books, she thought this sounded up my alley, and now I've guilt-tripped myself into wanting to read it. Another book from my mum, which is where I got most of my books from when I was a kid, is The Eagle of the Ninth Chronicles. Now, we didn't realise at the time, one, this is, for a UK book, it's got a decent flop, but two, this is 3 books in one. I just thought it was just called The Eagle of the Ninth Chronicles and that was it. It is not. This is 3 books combined in one. I have read the first one, have not read the second 2, and the first one I remember was really slow going. So this is set in ancient Roman times. It's in the island, like in the UK, but with when Rome was occupying there, Rome and Britain, and basically the Ninth Legion disappeared. Like, that is known. The Ninth Legion disappeared. We don't 100% know why. Probably like lost in a fog, fell off a cliff, we don't know. But this is like a story about them with magical elements in it, so it's a historical fantasy. So this should be something that's interesting, but I just remember that I really struggled to get into the first book. Like, I got into it by the end, but I struggled to read through it, and so that has put me off picking up the other 2. And also I struggle with bind-ups. I'm noticing that I don't particularly like them because they are so many pages long, and I don't like to read a series together. If I read, like, if I read the next 2 books back to back, in my head they would just be one book. I need there to be separation in time for me to be able to distinguish the books from each other. So then with bind-ups, I don't like the fact that it's still not done. Like, I've read one of the books in this trilogy, but it's not done. So that's why I've not picked that up. Let me see, actually. That's book 2. Is it all the way to the end? Yes, that's book 3. And I found out, I had no idea of this, because obviously I didn't read the back, but I was just flicking through. I was like, yeah, let's see. And at the back, Rosemary Sutcliffe, the author, so she was born the daughter of a naval officer, wonderful. So she actually contracted Still's disease and spent most of her life in a wheelchair. And this is in the 1940s, 1950s that she was writing. So it's from a disabled writer from the mid-1900s, a time which was even less friendly to disabilities than we are now. So that is something that I didn't know about the author, and that I'm going to like take into account when I'm reading. I want to know if she's included anything like related to any disabilities throughout the book. So that is one I definitely want to pick up. And she died in 1992. 4 years before I was born. How rude. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books. 8 bound collections of paper. And then we have the last 2, which I can't pick up. So I've mentioned these before. We've got Cathy's Ring and Cathy's Key, and the first book in this series is called Cathy's Book, and I don't own it. I got these when I was in America when I was about 12, and they look so cool. Like, it's, if I just show you one of them, I mean, this like opens, this like opens up here, there's stuff under there, there's mixed media aspects all throughout. This one, if I pick up Cathy's Ring, there's like this big chunky thing at the back here, and as I mentioned, like mixed media through the whole thing. So that's why I picked them up. They looked super interesting, but I don't have the first one, and we don't sell it here in the UK, so yeah. Literally, I just need to buy the first book. I've got it on my Amazon wishlist, but I've seen different covers for it, and I'm worried that I won't get the same cover. I want the one that matches. It's blue, and it's on my Amazon wishlist, and I just need to kind of brave buying it and being like, okay, it might not be the right one, but at least you can then read the book and then try and find the right copy. But it just, like, there's notes in the margins, and it sounds so fun, and it's quite, like, they're relatively short. So yeah, this one you can't really, well, you can blame me for. I haven't read this because I don't have the first book in the series, and I need to get it. So that makes kind of 10, kind of 12, I don't remember, 11? I'm not sure. But these are all of the books. I mean, it's not all of the books that have been on my TBR for too long, it's just a selection of them. But these are, I'm just going to call it 10, TBR Veterans that I need to get to. Have you read any of these? Oh, let me put it down. No, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, thank you. Have you read any of these? If you have, let me know which ones that you think I should pick up first. I know that Red Queen I'm going to enjoy, it's just waiting to, like, for the moment, and at some point I'm gonna just have to bite the bullet and sit down and read Labyrinth because it sounds like something that's right up my alley. I just need to admit that I'm gonna read a 700-page book and get on with it. So yeah, let me know down below any thoughts that you do have on these ones. I know that they are, some of them are reasonably well known, but some of them aren't known at all, and that's also probably part of the reason why they are on my TBR still, because one, I got them when I was younger, when I wasn't paying attention to like hyped books, because I didn't know that was a thing at the time, and then also the ones that I have had less motivation to pick up because they're not hyped, so everyone else isn't speaking about them. But yeah, I just thought I would do this, a little bit of accountability for myself. We'll see if I ever actually end up reading any of these. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! I'll come back to this in like 3 years and I won't have touched a single one. Not one.